In the vast landscape of human achievement, some figures rise so high they seem almost mythical. We see their empires, their innovations, their names etched into the very fabric of the future. But what if I told you that behind one of the most powerful minds of our time lies a story of profound loneliness, of a boy who found his only friends between the pages of a book? This is not the story of the billionaire you think you know. This is the story of the boy who had to build his own world before he could change ours. This is the untold story of Elon Musk, Pretoria, South Africa. A young boy, small for his age, walks with his head down. The world around him is loud, harsh, and unforgiving. He doesn't quite fit. While other kids are playing outside, he's lost in other universes. He devours books, sometimes reading for 10 hours straight. Science fiction, encyclopedias, anything he can get his hands on. The library is his sanctuary, a fortress against a world that doesn't understand him. He's not just reading. He's absorbing. His mind, a voracious sponge, soaks up knowledge, data, and dreams of distant galaxies. But this love for learning makes him a target. At school, he is the outsider, the quiet kid who knows too much. The bullies see his difference not as a gift, but as a weakness. The torment is relentless, both verbal and physical. There's a now famous story of him being thrown down a flight of concrete stairs, an act of cruelty so severe it left him hospitalized. Imagine that little boy bruised and beaten, not just physically, but emotionally. In those moments of darkness, it would have been so easy to surrender, to let the bitterness take root and extinguish his inner light. But something else was happening. Like an eagle learning to fly in a storm, every blow, every taunt, every moment of isolation was forging something unbreakable within him. He learned a brutal lesson early on. You can't rely on others for your own salvation. You have to be your own hero. He found his escape not by fighting back with his fists, but by retreating deeper into his mind. It was there, in the solitude of his own thoughts, that the seeds of his future were sown. He wasn't just dreaming of rockets and electric cars. He was engineering them in his head. His father, an engineer himself, recognized the boy's unusual intellect, but their relationship was complex and difficult. It was another storm he had to navigate. Yet, this environment, for all its challenges, fueled his fierce independence. He taught himself computer programming at the age of 10. By 12, he wasn't just playing video games. He was creating and selling them. He built a game called Blastar, a space shooter, and sold the code to a magazine for $500. It was the first spark, the first tangible proof that the worlds he built in his mind could have value in the real one. This wasn't just a hobby, it was a lifeline. While other kids were navigating the social hierarchies of school, Elon was navigating lines of code. He was building systems, solving problems, and creating order out of the chaos of his life. Every algorithm he wrote was a step away from the pain, a step towards a future he could control. He was learning to think in terms of systems, first principles, and probabilities. The very skills that would later allow him to deconstruct the aerospace and automotive industries and rebuild them from the ground up. Think about it. The loneliness drove him to books. The books gave him knowledge. The knowledge fueled his imagination. The bullying forced him to develop an iron will and an unshakable self-reliance. It's a painful but powerful equation. He wasn't just enduring his childhood. He was unconsciously training for his future. His mind became a laboratory, a place where he could test ideas, fail, and try again without the judgment of the outside world. He learned that the biggest risks were not in trying something audacious, but in not trying at all. When he and his brother Kimball eventually left South Africa for North America, it wasn't just a move. It was an escape. It was Elon chasing the dreamlands he'd only read about. A land of opportunity where being a nerd wasn't a liability, but an asset. He arrived with little more than the fire in his belly and a mind sharpened by years of adversity. The boy who was once too afraid to speak up was now ready to make the world listen. The rest, as they say, is history. Zip2, PayPal, SpaceX, Tesla, Neuralink. each venture more ambitious than the last. Each one a testament to the boy who dared to dream when the world tried to crush him. He looked at the giants of industry and wasn't intimidated. Why would he be? He had faced down his own demons in the schoolyards of Pretoria. He saw established ways of doing things not as rules, but as suggestions, often poor ones. He applied the same first principles thinking he'd learned as a boy. Why are rockets so expensive? Because we throw them away. So, what if we didn't? Why do cars have to run on gasoline? What if they ran on the same energy that powers the sun? These weren't just business questions. They were the questions of a boy who never stopped looking at the world and asking, why? The story of Elon Musk's childhood isn't just a biographical footnote. It is the very core of who he is. It is the source code of his operating system. The solitary eagle, flying through the darkest storms, didn't just survive. It learned to use the winds that tried to tear it down to soar even higher. The scars of his past became his armor. His loneliness became his focus. His pain became his fuel. So, what does this story teach us? It teaches us that our beginnings do not define our endings. The deepest valleys of our lives often prepare us for the highest peaks. The moments that feel like a curse can, in time, reveal themselves to be a hidden blessing. That quiet kid in the corner, the one lost in a book, the one who doesn't quite fit in, they might just be building worlds we can't yet see. Your own struggles, your own moments of isolation, your own private storms, they are not just obstacles. They are your training ground. They are forging a strength in you that you may not even recognize yet. The most important project you will ever work on is yourself. Build your mind into a fortress. Fuel your spirit with curiosity. Never let the noise of the world drown out the quiet, persistent voice inside you that whispers, "What if?" Because inside every one of us is an untold story, a hidden genius, an unbreakable spirit waiting for its moment to rise. The boy from Pretoria reminds us that it doesn't matter where you start. It only matters that you never, ever stop reaching for the stars. Thank you for watching. If this story resonated with you, hit that like button, subscribe for more, and share your thoughts in the comments below. What part of your past has made you stronger? Until next time, keep building your future.